Hi guys, this is Steve at Vintage Key Studios. I'm just off out to work. It's just turned 4:30 in the morning and just on my way now. I'll see you in a bit. Yes, today we are looking at the Behringer Poly D. So here we have it. It's a bit unusual for me to be doing a video about a keyboard that you can actually still buy. But I thought if you squint and look at this, it does look like a vintage one because it's obviously modelled on the Mini Model D. Behringer won't mention what it's modelled on their website. But the reason why I got this one was because I went into a music shop a few months back and I was looking for a keyboard that made the sound of scrubbing a stubborn stain out of a pair of trousers. A little like this sort of sound. And of course, the helpful assistant directed me straight to this. And I said, perfect, that's exactly what I'm after. Anyway, these type of synthesizers, as I say, like the MiniMoog, as it originally would have been, have been around for many, many years, since 1970, or maybe a bit slightly after that. It's when they first became made available. And this Behringer Poly D came out a few years ago. The difference between this and the MiniMoog really is, well, firstly, that it's kind of polyphonic, hence the name Poly D, which I'll talk about in a minute. And it's also got 4 oscillators. The MiniMoog D's only got 3, unless I'm very much mistaken. So now the problem with a lot of videos and things that I've seen of people demonstrating these is that they just make stupid noises on them. So I'm going to attempt to show the musicality of this instrument without too much messing about. First things first, let me just take you on a little tour of what this thing has got on it. So you've got the keyboard, obviously. You've got the controllers section, and so here you've got the main tuning, you've got the different modes, mono, uni, poly, and then the auto damp, which I'll show you in a second. So that's basically the sort of starting point. Then you've got the oscillator bank. Then you've got the mixer. So each of those 4 goes into one of these volume pots here, and you can switch them on and off with these nice lovely orange switches. And there's also the noise, white noise or pink noise edition there, which you can switch on and off and change the levels. There's also an external in as well. Then you've got the filter section with the lovely switches, the loudness section, so for the kind of the attack and sustain and decay. And this has also got the added extra of having a nice distortion added to it. It's also got a lovely chorus as well, which I shall play you in a second. Then we have the sequencer here, which I've already demonstrated a little bit. And then we have this switch here. Oh, no, that's not a switch. That's a piece of chopped carrot. Delicious. So, what I'll do quickly, first of all, is to just show you how to start afresh on one of these, because the problem that a lot of people get when they have a go on this, me included, is you sort of sit down and play notes, and it just does that, and you think, oh, right, and then if you don't stop and think logically about how it's all set out, you would just end up making a load of weird noises, which might account for the fact that quite a lot of people make funny noises like this and go, yeah. Anyway, right, so that's a, let's put it onto the sine wave. So we've got a sine wave, and that's coming from, at the moment I've only got oscillator 1 on. So you can listen here, the different waveforms you get range from a sine wave to a sort of a square wave, through a sawtooth, and then sort of like a square wave in different sort of rates. And if I play that down a little bit. So you can hear the more mellow sounds are up this end, and the kind of, it starts to get more brassy and a bit sort of clarinety up here. That's a sort of clarinety type sound. Okay, and then you've obviously got the range as well. It will go all the way up to the 2-foot stop. And that one there is so low that it's inaudible, but it would go. So anyway, if I put it back to 8, what I'll do now is I'll switch on the second oscillator. You can see that going backwards and forwards. And then the third oscillator. And the fourth one. This here is the mixer, so that you can mix between, so if I just sort of... so that's the first oscillator, then we've got this one here. It's also got switches for them as well. And then there's that's the noise volume. I know that might sound a bit like a noise, but this is what they mean by noise. White noise. White noise or pink noise. So anyway, so you've got the basic sine wave sound there, and then there's had like a... Now, if you've ever heard some of Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Keith Emerson's music, a lot of the synth sounds he used on certainly the early LPs like Tarkus had this sort of like this fifths type sound, and all it was he'd basically be playing the one note here, and then he'd tune one of the oscillators up to a fifth above it, and then sort of go. Right, so anyway, we don't want that at the moment. Then we've got oscillator 3 and then oscillator 4. Oh. Now, what you can do to get some interesting sounds is to use, because it's in mono mode at the moment, that means that all 4 of these oscillators come on all at once. When it's in poly mode, you press one note and one oscillator works, and then you press 2 notes and 2 oscillators come on, and it's in the order that your fingers fall on the keyboard. So it's a bit random, and then the same again with if you play 3 notes. So it's basically going 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3 all the time, depending on, or 1, 2, 3, 4 if you do 4. You can see, and then. So I'm just playing the same chord over and over again, but because it's processing through there at a different time because of when my fingers physically hit the keys, it changes the order of, it's like changing the voicing of the chord, like it's going like that. And the reason that it sounded like that is because I've got the ranges on here sent to different registers. So anyway, so if I put it back onto the mono mode, you can then go over to the filters and start messing about with these. And also the loudness control And it's got a decay button. That's using the glide function. And then let's use a bit of, we've got the LFO modulation, which is controlled by this knob here, which is the LFO rate. And you can either have the square wave modulation or the one, or you can use the white or pink noise to generate modulation, or to make the sound of a kind of like it's almost like diarrhea, especially when you do that. Oh dear. Well, anyway, let's switch that off. Right, so this filter here this is low pass and this is high pass. You can also hear the filters sort of changing the timbre of the sound, because before it was like a more of a mellow sound. And you've got these keyboard control things here which sort of affect and work in with it. I'll put the link to the manual on the down below, because it's too much really here for me to go through all the way through. But I'll try and get some sort of interesting sound now. And a bit of chorus, they've got like an added chorus here. And then a bit of noise you can add to it. That was to turn the distortion off. Anybody who's familiar with Emerson, Lake and Palmer's Brain Salad Surgery album, it's all kind of almost the same sort of sound that they used on the end of the album. I just turn that. You can make the sound of the end of the Brain Salad Surgery album roughly by going. course it's not right, I can't remember what the notes are. But it's something like that. But I love that sound, that sound. This one's called Zicht. This is Zicht. Behringer's advertising spiel. On Behringer's advertising blurb, it says that, well, I'll read it to you. It says, the inspired synthesizer tracks laid down in the 1970s and 80s are etched in the annals of progressive rock, wave and synth pop music forever, making them truly classic in every sense of the word. Poly D's pure analog signal path with legendary VCO, VCF and VCA circuits lets you recreate all of that magic, or design incredibly fat and original sounds that will make you a legend in your own right. And that little paragraph is headed Big Fat Tones. I'm not sure if they've got anyone there called Tone. But as a fatster myself, I relate to that. And I use this to make intensely fat sounds and insanely fat sounds. I've no idea what I did there. That sounded quite interesting. Turn that off. On our Patreon, we've got a selection of some of the patches that I've come up with on here. I mean, there's endless the amount of stuff you could come up with. These patches are designed to help you find a sound to start with, rather than to be used as like a kind of an amazing thing. They're just sort of like a starting point. Yes, if you end up using them off of the Patreon site and you make anything up that sounds quite good, then why not upload a video and let us all see it? And if you come up with some interesting patches that you'd like to share with everybody, then maybe sort of share them with everybody. Now, this thing, the problem with synthesizers like this is it's very, very easy to just get completely confused. And it just makes a horrible noise. And one of the usual things that certainly when I first started using this thing was you do that and you can't work out what it is. And it's mainly because the decay and the sustainer are sort of switched to hardly anything. can hear that with the filter, it sort of gives it like a bit of a formant. That's better. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this vague tour of a Poly D. The idea being that you just sort of switch it on and find where the starting point is, as opposed to just making loads of noises like. I really don't like it on YouTube when people, when you first go on a video and within 20 seconds they say, please like and subscribe, when you haven't even seen anything yet and you don't even know what they're talking about. So, please like and subscribe, but don't subscribe if you've already subscribed, because it'll unsubscribe you. Yes, keep your eye out for the next video. We'll have some more here. We'll probably have some more with the various keyboards and bits and pieces, and some more equipment and all sorts of things. Check all the old ones as well, because I used to have a beard. That's enough from me. I'm going to go for a lie down now. Good night.